Hey everyone, welcome back to the Vinyl Review. Today we're going to go over the Beatles, or the Beatles White Album. Now this is one of my favourite Beatles albums, and I say that every time, but this is either second or third on my list. This is the Stereo 2009 remaster. No it's not. This is the 2018 remix. Giles Martin remix. I haven't actually heard the digital. I'm not sure how it works. In 2009, all the Beatles albums were re-released as a digital master, which I believe that means they were well digitalized, if that's even a word. But I haven't heard the White Album from 2009 because by the time, or as I was getting into the Beatles, they released this one. So this is the one that I've just been listening to. Now I did show the gatefold, but there it is again. My camera's playing up, so I'm sorry if I'm like get really dark or something. It comes with a poster which you can see. It's up there, up on my wall, and it does. There they are. I'm worried I've lost them. It comes with beautiful pictures of the Fab Four, which I'll show you individually. We have the Dead Man, we have Glasses, we have the drummer, and of course this handsome man. I really like just the white and then the embossed, because they believed after Sgt. Peppers it was such a big contrast from the brightly coloured uniforms and all this brightness and gloss to go from that to just plain white. And I'll show you. This is also, I believe it's the first on that Apple Records, which is cool. I'll show you this one. I won't show you the other one. They're not really exciting. And I don't have an original mono version, I'm afraid. But I do have, I'm going to show you if I can. I can lift my leg up high enough. I got it tattooed on my leg because I love the Beatles. Let's talk about music, shall we? Because that's what we do on this channel. So it starts with an airplane that sort of brings us into back in the USSR, which is such an amazing opening track to an album. I love the guitars, the drums. Paul McCartney plays drums on this song and a few others because Ringo quit the band. He just walked out, just not having any of it. We'll talk about the recording process in a minute, but from that we go on to Dear Prudence, which is such a lovely, from the hard rock, not hard rock, but the faster paced rock of back in the USSR. It just sort of ends, and then the transition into Dear Prudence is so beautiful, and I love that song. And then we have Glass Onion. Glass Onion is fantastic because I love that song has the references to older Beatles songs, and the walrus. I can't say walrus. Walrus is Paul. That's a great song. Oh Blah Dee Blah Da. That's one of my favourite Beatles songs. It's so catchy and it's so upbeat. I absolutely love it. I know John Lennon doesn't like it, but I think it's brilliant. I think it's one of the best songs in the album. And Wild Honey Pie is alright. It's I think it's filler. The Continuing Story of Bungalow Bill. The story behind this song is while they were in India, John Lennon saw someone, I think it was a tiger that they hunted or murdered, and he was really unhappy about it. I need to do more research, but I think that this is the first and one of the only Beatles songs with Yoko Ono on backing vocals. I might be wrong. And then of course, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, one of the greatest songs of all time. And as I said, the recording process was hectic, and everyone was in their own studios, and they just weren't working together. So George Harrison believed that the others weren't taking him seriously enough. And while in a taxi cab with his good friend Eric Clapton, he asked Eric to come perform on the song, and record it with him because he felt the others, they weren't being very helpful or didn't really care about his input. And Eric Clapton was hesitant because he didn't want to, performing on a Beatles song was like going to heaven. It's this big sort of momentous moment. But he did come in the studio, and that sort of got all the other Beatles together because they wanted to, behave themselves in a way. And there's a third, on the Anthology album, you can find this song with a third verse. But on the White Album, the third verse was cut out in place of Eric Clapton's guitar solo, which is cool. And it is an amazing song. And then we have Happiness is a Warm Gun. Again, such an amazing song. I love the transition and John's lyrics and the ending. It's happiness. I need to stop singing. A lot of my videos have been claimed because of my singing. It's ridiculous. Martha, my dear, is great. I'm so tired. I love it. Now, Blackbird. Blackbird is a beautiful song. I absolutely love it. And I love Paul tapping his feet. Blackbird in the UK, if you're American, you might not know, but in the UK, a bird is your girlfriend or a woman. If you have a girlfriend, you might call her your bird. So Blackbird is about a black woman. It was written about civil rights or black rights in America. Just interesting. And then we have Piggies. Piggies is such an amazing song. I love the whimsical nature and just the jokiness of it. And is it not harpsichord, I want to say, on the closing bit? I'm not sure what the instrument is, but I love that. And then we have Rocky Raccoon. Rocky Raccoon is my favourite song on this album, without a shadow of a doubt. I love Paul's American accent. I love all the different characters in the song. I love the way he sings it. It's so catchy. When I listen to Rocky Raccoon, I can sing along. Obviously not as good. I'm nothing like Paul McCartney, but I can sing along because it's so catchy and easy to sing with. And I love the verses and the chorus. It's just perfect in my mind. I need to read. Don't Pass Me By is the first Ringo written song, and I think it's brilliant. I think it's really good. I love his lyrics. I love the instrumentations on the track, and I love Ringo. Ringo's the second best Beatle, but I won't go into that. Why Don't We Do It in the Road? It has some really great vocals by Paul McCartney, but yeah, it is Paul McCartney, but it's not. Again, a lot of these songs, or some of these songs, I feel like they're filler. And as much as I love the Beatles and I love these songs, they're not, compared to other songs on this album and other Beatles songs in general, it's difficult. I think my camera doesn't like how shiny and white this album is. I Will is a beautiful song. Julia is absolutely beautiful and amazing. John Lennon's vocals, again, he just kills it. I love John Lennon's singing. And I just think that if he hadn't been assassinated, he would have been, what musical output would have come out after he died, if he didn't die, if that makes sense. Anyway, so we have we've done that one. Birthday. So we're starting on side 3, Birthday. I love Birthday. And I love the sort of 50s guitar that George Harrison brings to the track. And also the contrast. I know maybe if you listen to it on your phone, it's not the same. But you got the side 1 starts with Back in the USSR. And then when you start the next record, the second record with side 3, you've got Birthday, which again is another 50s style rocker. And I think that's brilliant. Year Blues. Year Blues is, it sounds like it's about suicide and wanting to die because of the lyrics, but it's really, it's supposed to be a comical take on how not bad, but how sad British folk and country music was at the time. A lot of artists they were just, I don't know how, they were like the Smiths, if the Smiths were in the 60s and doing folk music. And John Lennon was kind of poking fun at them with that song. Mother Nature's Son It's an absolute beauty. I love it. Everybody's got something to hide, except for me and my monkey. Is Sexy Sadie. I love Sexy Sadie. It's really, really catchy. And Helter Skelter, the first heavy rock or metal song. I adore Helter Skelter. You know, it's in my playlist, and when I used to be able to, when I had the iPhone and it worked in my car, when I was on long drives, if that song come on, you just belt up the volume and get a Helter Skelter. I know my ears are suffering for it, but I love the drums, I love the bass, I love the guitar, I love Paul's angry, raunchy vocals, and the story behind this song, which I'm sure a lot of you know, is The Who, in a magazine, they said that they'd written the most heavy and dirty song possible, and Paul McCartney had read that and thought he could, one up them, do one better. And I'm not sure what song The Who said was the most raunchy and dirty song, but I'm quite sure Helter Skelter beat them. But Long, 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 I love the contrast from Helter Skelter to Long, Long, Long. You got this really heavy, almost heavy metal song for the 60s, and then on to George Harrison's Long, 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 which is it's a very calm, slow, melodic track. And I don't like the fact that I think his vocals are really lost in the mix. I'm not sure, maybe that's intentional. Revolution 1. Revolution 1 is a brilliant song. Again, they're all brilliant, but pardon me. John Lennon wanted this to be a single, but Paul McCartney and George Martin said it was too slow paced. So you've got the single Revolution, which is this super, super cool, this super cool, fast paced, almost, I keep saying fifth rockabilly, that's the word. It's a rockabilly, super fast rocker, but the version, or Revolution 1, the first version on this album, is a very slow-paced, acoustic-led track, which I absolutely love. I love John's vocals, I love the lyrics, it's perfect. And then we have Honey Pie. I love Honey Pie, about a seamstress in America. Savoy Truffle. Savoy Truffle's lyrics, George Harrison wrote about all the different sweets and candies that Eric Clapton loved, and he reckoned that it was destroying his teeth, so we got the song Savoy Truffle, which is absolutely beautiful. And then my second favourite song on the album, Cry Baby Cry. I love John's vocals on this track. It's absolutely superb and beautiful, just amazing. And I love the bit at the end, Paul McCartney's what is it called? I forget what it's called, but there's a little snippet of a Paul McCartney demo that they put in at the end, which really suits it. Can You Take Me Back? That's what it's called. And then you have Revolution 9. Revolution 9 is just so mind-boggling and crazy. And you can't, obviously I'm 22, and music today is a lot more expressive, but back in 1968 when this came out, people must have been blown away by Revolution 9. George Martin and Paul McCartney didn't want it on the album, but John Lennon insisted, and obviously he got what he wanted. This song is just like, what? I like the baby crying, and then the fucking, there's like a fireplace at one point, and these weird Yoko Ono talking about being naked and things like that. It's just so out there for an album, a song, just amazing. And there is a sad side, really. Charles Manson heard that song, and he believed it was a calling from God, that he had to go out and. So I don't know the full story, so I'm not going to talk about this here, because I don't want to get the facts wrong. But look it up if you're interested. And then it ends with Good Night, which is a really beautiful orchestral ballad. Now, could John, Paul, or George have sung it better or with more expression than Ringo? Yes, they could have. But with Ringo singing it and closing off the album, it just makes it perfect, you know? It just completes it in a way that, obviously, if Paul McCartney had sung it with more expression, because his voice can go a lot higher than Ringo's, it might have sounded better. But because Ringo sings it, it just adds this extra spice to the track, which makes it perfect. But yeah, I mean that's the Beatles' White Album that comes in at about, I think it's about an hour and 20 minutes long. Um, Thanks for watching, and join me in the next episode where we talk about the Beatles' Let It Be. Take care, everyone.